Hey there, how are you? Bridget here, talking about healing. A few segments back, I talked about our ability to tap into more than we have before, our ability to expand our awareness around what's possible for healing as the rules have changed, as the planet changes. And this week, I want to talk about what's some of the stuff that comes up when we do healing work. When we're working on healing ourselves, everything we learn and everything we experience gets delivered into how we work with our kids, how we work with our clients, how we work with the community and our family. Whether you're doing healing work professionally or not, everything you learn from your healing practices, from your spirit practices, it becomes available to you to help and guide other people. And as you help and guide other people, it is absolutely inevitable that your stuff is going to come up. Your fears, your worries, your self-doubts, your criticisms. And I want you to know that that's the way it's supposed to be. They're supposed to come up. You're telling yourself a story and making it seem like the story is true. You're believing the story. That self-doubt, I shouldn't be doing this, I'm not good enough. It's a story. The problem is that you own the story and you think you're the only one that owns it. We all have that story. Everybody who helps other people has those stories. And we need to stop fueling them. I'm going to talk a little bit about a couple of things that come up commonly. And then in the group, I'm going to talk about your specific concerns that y'all shared with me a couple of weeks ago. Important to remember that it's the job of our soul to show us what we can't see or what we have trouble seeing as we're helping other people. So if your stuff is coming up, if you're doubt, you're not confident, you're concerned if you're doing it right, you're concerned if you're going to be taking on other people's stuff. If that stuff is coming up, I say, good, let's work with it. It's coming up for a reason. It's actually part of the process. It's not there to tell you to stop doing your work. Although you might think it is, although the voice in the story becomes so thick that we think it's supposed to stop us from doing the work, but it's not. It's supposed to give us something to look at and reflect on and move past. Problem is we get stuck too long in that story and then we become paralyzed. We don't move forward, or a part of us doesn't move forward. And then we get stuck trying to turn the engine, trying to get it to go. And we have trouble motivating, trouble starting our healing practices, trouble thinking that we're good enough to do the work. So let's start plowing through some of those so that the story can change. And at the very least, when the story comes up, you can recognize it as a story, not as the truth. Okay. So first thing I'm thinking of is the imposter syndrome. Many people who want to take their work out in the world have this. I am not good enough. I don't know enough. I don't know enough as the other person who's doing this. People will realize that I don't really know what I'm talking about. All of that is a story. And I want you to look at those thoughts and that imposter syndrome stuff as part of a process. Recognize it's happening. Okay, that I'm not good enough, imposter stuff is coming up. This must mean growth is happening. What if this feeling not good about myself was actually helping me to grow? What if this thought was serving a purpose? What purpose would it be? What if this fear was serving a purpose? What purpose would it be? So having a mindset shift around these things that we think are true, around these issues that come up around helping other people, is really what needs to happen, because the mindset shift will allow you to understand what's going on and then move past it. And there's something in there. There's something in there for us. There's growth in there for us when we stop looking at it as the truth. You're here to do your purpose. Your soul is talking to you, and you need to be able to listen so that you can live the purpose and do what you're here to do. So when these things come up, they're not true. They're just obstacles for you to take a look at so that you can keep going. So take a mindset of, okay, if this was serving me, if this thought was serving me, if this fear is serving me, what could it be teaching me? It's not true. So if it's not true, what could it be teaching me? Everybody has the imposter syndrome. The people you see are putting out their work in the world and they look so confident and they're got their practices going and they're doing all this stuff. They also have that imposter syndrome, or they had it at one point in time. It's part of how you get to the next level. So if you have that, it's good. It means you're growing. And I also want to mention, in conjunction with that, self-doubt. So many of my students and clients have self-doubt. They doubt their purpose. They doubt their ability to help other people. And I want to actually tell you something that I learned about self-doubt. A little bit of self-doubt isn't a bad thing. You can communicate with spirit, receive great information, and help yourself and other people and still have self-doubt. They can go hand in hand. And I want you to allow them to. Because something that I've learned about self-doubt, a little bit of self-doubt, wondering, was that really true? Did I really do that? Did Spirit really say that? Wow. It keeps you humble. And any good teacher, healer, or leader needs to be humble. Otherwise, there's a power over that happens, and there's an inflation of the ego. So the little bit of self-doubt that you have, acknowledge it, recognize it for helping you, instead of letting it take you down the drain or down like this big vortex of I'm not good enough. Notice when that thought starts, recognize and remember it's normal, and honor it for keeping you humble. And then keep moving. Keep moving. You can do the work when you feel like you doubt yourself. I doubt myself sometimes. I have been doing shamanic healing work for how long? I've been a shamanic practitioner for 20 years. I've been helping other people for close to a decade with this work. And still, after like thousands of journeys and ceremonies that I do, sitting in front of people and with people and helping them, I receive information or I hear things from the spirits and I say, that can't possibly, that I'm not hearing that right. That doesn't feel like it makes sense. But I deliver it and I've learned to work with it. And every time I do, I'm blown away by how relevant the information is that comes through for other people, even though my little brain and mind are doubting myself. So if it can happen to me after 20 years of practice, it should be happening to you. And you should be working through it and taking it with ease. Okay, so those are two of the big things that come up around healing work. Imposter syndrome, self-doubt. There are so many more, and I want to address every single one of them. But I'm going to stop here, and I'm going to ask you, what is one thing that you tell yourself over and over again along these lines of, I'm not good enough, I doubt what I'm experiencing, I can't really help people. What is one thing that you tell yourself that you could take a reframe on, that you could think differently about? What if it was working to your advantage? What would that mean? Okay. It's plenty for now. We will talk more when I go live, and we'll talk more in the group. Take a minute to do some reflection and then come on over and let me know what you're thinking. Bye for now.